Namaste and welcome to the second session of Day 1 of DSV's Global E-Conclave on the sacred occasion of the International Day of Yoga. A short while ago, we concluded our first session with an incredible panel of speakers. Over the course of the next 3 days, we will be connecting with people from all across the globe, from various nationalities, professions, and cultures. We hope that this celebration is a way for us to enrich our understanding and to grow together as a result of the discussions led by a tremendous panel, which encapsulate diverse perspectives and experiences. And without further ado, it's our immense honor and pleasure to introduce you to our speakers and mentors who themselves are true testimony of unity, integrity, and humanity. Dr. Barbara Walshe is a strong restorative facilitator, the chair of the board at Glencree Center for Peace and Reconciliation in Ireland, the chair and research coordinator of an NGO facing forward committed to restorative justice. She has 20 years of experience in research, advocacy training, community development, peace building, and restorative justice at the local, national, and international level. Dr. Walshe has also served as a peace envoy in Israel-Palestine relations. She has recent engagements with peace-building organizations in Geneva, Normandy, Finland, Norway, and Turkey, which increased the profile and influence of Ireland. She worked in prisons with young male offenders in Green Bay, Wisconsin for restorative work and justice in 2013. May we now begin Session 2 of our Global E-Conclave by inviting the Honorable Dr. Barbara Walshe to share her insights with us.
Today I would like to send sincere greetings from the Glencree Center for Peace and Reconciliation in Ireland to all our friends in India, to the hundreds and millions of members that are working in India and around the world at this particular time to help their people during the COVID-19 crisis. You're all doing amazing work. We stand in solidarity with India, with Dr. Chinmay Pandya, with the Shanti Kung, the Dev Sanskriti University in the beautiful hardware at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara Walshe, for sharing your meaningful message. To everyone tuning in, we are now transitioning to our second esteemed guest, the Honorable Professor David Ford. He has contributed significantly to the field of scriptural reasoning and theology. However, in addition to being a well-known scholar and theologian, he mentors and guides several global initiatives. We are very privileged to have him with us today to share his thoughts. Dr. David Ford is a professor of divinity at the University of Cambridge. He founded and chaired the management committee of the Center for Advanced Religious and Theology Studies at Cambridge. He's the director of Cambridge Interfaith Program. He is the co-founder of Society for Scriptural Reasoning. He's a member of St. John's College, a fellow of Selwyn College, and a foundation member of Trinity College. He is regarded for his scholarship and a sought-after lecturer and preacher, and also serves as an advisor to the bishops of the Anglican Communion. He served as the trustee for the Center for Theological Inquiry at Princeton and is a member of the Board of Advisors for the John Templeton Foundation. He is the trustee of the Golden Web Foundation. Dr. Ford is also an editorial board member of Modern Theology, the Scottish Journal of Theology, Teaching Theology and Religion, the Irish Theological Quarterly, and the Journal for Anglican Studies. He serves as editorial advisor board member for the Current Issues in Theology series published by Cambridge University Press. He served as the academic member of the World Economic Forum Council of 100 Leaders for West Islamic World Dialogue.
Hello, I'm David Ford, and I bring you greetings from Cambridge in England. I also give greetings to all of you who are watching this. Of course, one can never tell nowadays who is watching something on the internet, but I suspect that quite a few of you will be either in India or have close associations with India. And that is a place that both my wife Deborah and I have very warm feelings about, and had a wonderful visit there before lockdown to Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya in Haridwar. Now, we are here in Cambridge in a state of semi-lockdown, I suppose. I'm over 70, so I'm in a stricter lockdown than others who are younger. But we are in the middle of this global pandemic, utterly unprecedented. And Dr. Chinmay Pandya has invited me to say a little about responding to that. And the first thing I want to say is a word of immense gratitude to those of you. I know many of you are involved in the extensive practical response to the COVID-19 pandemic in all sorts of ways, and that the whole Gayatri movement too, and its university, Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, is also involved. And just a word of thanks, heartfelt thanks, for those who are giving themselves regularly to responding to the needs, such deep needs that the pandemic has thrown up. And also to note how important strong civil society organizations and institutions such as the Gayatri movement and the university in Haridwar are and will continue to be. Of course, we look to governments, but we cannot do without a healthy civil society. And it has been deeply encouraging to me to see the ways in which the university in Haridwar and many others in the Gayatri network have been responding for many years and are now, of course, better prepared than many to meet the needs that have arisen globally. The second thing I want to say is to appreciate Dr. Pandya's address, which is also on YouTube, in which he gave a heartfelt plea for one of the main things to be borne in mind and to act towards in the face of this pandemic is global unity, a unity that involves solidarity, equality, compassion, and above all, sacredness. That sense that we need, from the deepest and highest that we know, to respond to the needs of our world and to serve the common good of our world. Now, Dr. Pandya's great wisdom was shown in the things he was saying about that. And I just want to add, from my standpoint, a few further thoughts to what he said, with a particular concern for that quality of unity that we need. There are four things I want to say. One is to suggest that this, above all, is a time to cultivate daring friendships, friendships that cross the divisions of our society, of our religions, of our political groups, within our families. That so many people actually have friends who are largely like themselves. But what our world needs is friendships that cross the divisions of our world. And surprisingly, this can be a time when electronic communication can facilitate that, even when we cannot meet face to face physically. And even if we can't take initiatives like this, let us make this one of the seeds that we plant now and meditate on in time of lockdown or near lockdown, so that when we emerge from this, we are determined to cross divisions of whatever sort as never before. The second thing I want to say is about a practice that has meant a great deal to me and which has led to many surprising friendships and crossing of barriers. It's called scriptural reasoning. And if you go to the website of the Rose Castle Foundation, which is in collaboration with Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya in this area, you will find more about it. But it's a practice whereby people from different religious traditions take parts of their scriptures and share them with each other, discuss them with each other, and try to go deeper into their own scriptures, deeper into the scriptures of others, and deeper into the common world that we share. And what I have found happening is that in this way, there is some movement towards what Dr. Pandya hopes and prays for. That world in which there is a unity that serves the common good. And above all, of course, what happens at its best in scriptural reasoning is that we get deeper into God, and everything else flows from that. That is the sacredness dimension of what Dr. Pandya said. And my first, well, not my first, but my second meeting, I think, with Dr. Pandya, we spent a whole day in Cambridge here studying together. We had the first 18 verses of the Gospel of St. John, which we studied all morning, and then some Yoga Sutras of Patanjali that we studied all afternoon, translated from the Sanskrit by Dr. Pandya. And it was a quite extraordinary day, which I think I can say, and I think Dr. Pandya would agree, has been the foundation for our friendship. And when my wife and I were in Haridwar before lockdown, we had a wonderful session of study with members of the student and staff body there. The third thing I want to say is about encouragement. When one's in lockdown, it's sometimes difficult to think that one is of any use to anyone. But the priest in charge of my local church, St. Andrew's, Cherry Hinton, which is also broadcasting its services at the moment, her name is Karen Votharman. She invited me early on in the pandemic to be the chief encourager of the crisis team that our church set up in order to cope with all the demands of a parish, which includes, of course, things like a food bank. And so even though I haven't been able to go out of the house, that I've been able to try, inadequately, to give encouragement to those who have been working extraordinarily hard and often at some risk to themselves. 2 members of our team have actually had COVID-19. And that encouragement, I would just encourage all of you who are listening to take as part of what you do during this pandemic the encouragement of other people. People need it, I think, more than ever before. It never goes amiss. And wise, discerning encouragement, it's difficult to do and we all fail at it, but why not take that by telephone, by email, by well, those in one's own family who one may be locked in with, they often need it most of all. And the third thing I want to say is about prayer. Prayer, I think of as the depth of both speech and action. And we need speech and action that springs from the depths in relation to the needs of our world. And the prayer that I have been particularly concentrating on during this pandemic time, I'm a Christian, and I have been studying the Gospel of John for many years, trying to write a book on it. And Jesus, on the night before he dies, in chapter 17 of the Gospel of John, prays to his Father. And he prays above all for unity, for something that is utterly in harmony with what Dr. Pandya talks about in his address. And it's a unity that is between us and God, between us and each other, and between us and those who differ from us across the world. And I want to read that to you. Just a few of the verses from that. This is, I think, my favourite chapter, John 17, in the whole Bible. And it reads, "The glory," this is Jesus praying to his Father, "the glory that you have given me, I have given them, so that they may be one as we are one. I in them and you in me, that they may become completely one, so that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved them, even as you have loved me. Father, I desire that those also whom you have given me may be with me where I am, to see my glory, which you have given me, because you loved me before the foundation of the world." That is a vision of unity in love, the highest form of unity that any of us can desire. Let us all desire that unity to multiply, to spread, to go deeper, broader, higher. And let us pray and act and live for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor David Ford, for your thoughts of wisdom. We are grateful to have you and your insightful deliberations and perspectives. In continuing with the agenda for our session, we have someone who is an embodiment of health and wellness practices, spreading the message worldwide with an intent to serve humanity at large. We are grateful to Honorable Dr. Daya Mullins for joining us today. She is the president and founder of MITTE Foundation, the nonprofit foundation for holistic medicine, health education, and social services. She is the founder for the European College for Yoga and Therapy, the member of the Advisory Council for the International Association of Yoga Therapists. Dr. Mullins teaches internationally and is a master teacher in the long-term yoga educational and postgraduate study program. Please welcome Dr. Mullins.
Dear sincere listeners, my respect and heartfelt greetings to all of you. Pranam and thank you to Dr. Chinmay Pandya from Chandikunj and the Gayatri Pariwar for inviting me to share with you some angles of how the COVID-19 pandemic can lead us to a new age of solidarity and unity. At this time of great challenge, of having to wear masks and practice social distancing, We are to find a response to a more inclusive viewpoint, which should naturally be a new orientation towards life. The starting point for each of us is based on our individual present circumstances, whatever they are, and this starting point is right here where we are now. Among the many challenges facing humanity today, the present threat of COVID-19, as you all know, is one of them, with unprecedented consequences worldwide. And still the greatest challenge seems to be within the human nature itself. Each day we may experience a quality of oneness and unity which lies hidden within the diversity and separateness of the outer world. The drama in which we are engaged, the Dharma of humanity, is to unite this inner world of wholeness and the outer world of personalities, groups and nations that make up humanity. We can look at human history and at the history of our own individual experiences as a process of building a bridge between the inner and the outer, between the inner world and the outer daily challenges, between the sacred and the mundane. That bridge, that middle way, can become the way of service for us. For service is that which relates the consciousness of unity to its expression within living forms. It is a way of responding to the vision of wholeness. This middle way emerges outward from our inner vertical life, provided we are present, into a daily pattern of high thinking as well as loving and purposeful activity. Unfortunately, millions of people today share the belief that nothing really matters, that life is essentially meaningless. Far less people are interested in seeking and following their own inner wisdom, listening to their conscience. Everyone wishes a good life for themselves, that we all have in common. How we go about it differs. Some people are born with barely anything, others are born with plenty, and many are living in between these extremes. Each life is equally precious. However, too many see the purpose of their lives squeezing what they can get out of it for themselves, without caring for the consequences. The coronavirus all of a sudden has stopped people of all countries moving along their habitual paths. It has put nations in complete lockdown and offers a challenge on many levels with dire consequences for us as individuals as well as for entire nations. All thoughts and actions have consequences, and it is important to see how these connect in order to evoke the aims that we are wishing to manifest. All success arises through finding the right methods. It is a real test for our character and for our ability to deeper understand. Many people do not see any way out of the crisis and choose to look backwards, longing for past times. This is, however, no solution. The corona pandemic is a threat to our lives as well as to our way of living. But also it provides a unique chance to rethink, to feel ourselves again, also in relation to others, and start anew in different ways. When we really open our eyes and our hearts we will become aware of how detrimental self-interest is at the expense of community. This is becoming even clearer globally in this time of the COVID-19 challenge. A shared vision of working together for the common good of the whole planet, the readiness to correct mistakes that have been made, as well as comprehensive education for everybody, no matter what social class or gender. These are and will be increasingly important key factors in personal as well as in public life all over the planet. When the world threatens to drown in insecurity, violence and ignorance, as is the fact of these days, a new alignment has to take place, and that must be a spiritual one, free of dogma. So each of us will have to understand, step by step, that only through taking personal responsibility for our lives, for our families, for the lives of people around us, we will be able to positively change our circumstances. Right now, this realization presents a huge challenge, and it is a long way to put this into practice, especially on a broader scale. Patience and endurance are necessary for us all. There is a great emergency as an increasing number of people are suffering, and so many are losing their jobs, their homes and even their lives. It's obvious that mutual help on various levels is indispensable. All over the world, we see people supporting, caring, and not giving up. They are relating with dignity and selflessness in serving in new and creative ways. However, many more are needed to act and to care, to heal this global situation. For the first time, we might realize how interdependent we really are on one another. What happens in one country on the other side of the planet nevertheless might have a direct impact on the respective country that we are living in. We are all challenged to find out what really is important in our lives, for our families, economically, in society and within nature. This present situation is requiring different conducts of life and powerful healing approaches. We are to meet the demands of the whole. Instead of being preoccupied with meeting only the own egotistic interests. Therefore, you are encouraged to reach out, to make a difference. Please help where you can. Let your hearts open and turn to your fellow human being. Offer service, donations and other support, such as food and practical daily equipments. Many are in real need of this, and they don't know where to turn to, so confusion and desperation can take over. Each of your helping gestures represents heart and hands of the divine. Simply begin to positively connect with men and women who are sensitive to a similar impulse of service and support that you are. The way of service that we are thus sharing is a way in which we can approach that destiny that COVID-19 presents us at the present time. We are making many choices each day, and each and every one shapes our lives. Which ones are you making? Simply notice. Know that we are all the same in spite of any outer differences, and still each unique. We are all the same. Please don't make any difference between you and others. Together we can build cohesion through the feeling of compassion and cooperation as we are living our lives meaningful and simple. We can go slowly, breathe deeply, do good for ourselves and everyone around us. We can treasure nature and help it heal. We can become better people now. The inner middle way of balance and of centeredness emerges naturally and enables the realization that we in fact can work together with goodwill to meet the present needs in the community. We are learning right human relations through this growing sense of cooperation that are emerging and the willingness to sacrifice selfishness as we are working for the common good. The life which we feel pulsing through our veins is only a tiny part of the life pulsing through all forms, all kingdoms in nature, all planets, and the solar system. In the heart of consciousness and in the heart of matter, there is oneness. Through love, wisdom, and service, we approach this task. We are only a tiny part of existence, and yet there is a light inside each of us. It is the clarity of this light that makes all the difference in the world. Imagine that you start each morning contacting the flame of divine consciousness inside of you. Sitting in the silence of your own inner strength and uprightness, you envision a day of deep inner connectedness and purpose unfolding within and before you. Feel a tremendous power of peace that builds up inside of you, so that each of your words and each of your actions have a growing impact you have never before experienced. An impact to lift the energy into love and peace for the healing of humanity and of this precious planet we are all sharing and which is an alive organism that needs our utmost caretaking too. May we constantly choose a single goal of peace rather than multiple goals that lead to conflict. May we continue to be involved in a personal transformation process in which we are all concerned with giving and not about getting, trusting that what we truly need will manifest. May we continue to practice forgiveness and look lovingly on the present, for it holds the only knowledge that is forever true. May we awaken to the understanding and knowing that the essence of our being is love, and as such we are part of the light of the world. May we recognize that we are united as one self and illuminate the world with the light of the divine that shines through us. We are manifesting it through our thoughts and actions for the good of all. By introducing love, tolerance, helpfulness and understanding among all people, nations and religion, as well as for the benefit of nature, we become peacemakers from within our hearts. And we realize we are all beings of one Creator. We are all members of one big family. As we attune and realize, we will be able to learn mastering the challenges creatively that are put in front of us in humane coexistence all over the world. Through compassion and creative action, we together will be able to evoke and embrace unity for the benefit of all. May you joyfully be an active part of this transformation process, and may these words help strengthen and encourage you in these challenging times. Dear listeners, we are completing our sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mullins, for your words of wisdom. We are fortunate to have you with us. In the immense flow of knowledge where we explore various perspectives of unity and solidarity, we are now honored to invite Rabbi Dr. Alon Goshen-Gottstein to provide his insights on the topic. Rabbi Dr. Alon Goshen-Gottstein is the founder and director of the Elijah Interfaith Institute, a scholar of Jewish studies and activist in the domain of interfaith dialogue. He is acknowledged as the world's leading figures in interreligious dialogue, specialized in bridging theology and academics, especially involving world religious leadership. For the following 30 years, he has served as a reserve chaplain in the Israeli army. He has headed the Institute for the Study of Rabbinic Thought at Bel Morsha College in Jerusalem from 1997 till 2013 and oversaw conferences and publications in the field. Please welcome Dr. Alon to share a few words.
Dear friends, I'm Rabbi Alon Goshen-Gottstein. I'm addressing you from Israel. I think of all of you in lockdown at this moment in India. I think with great respect of the Pariwar. I think with great respect of your spiritual tradition. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Pandya for having requested of me a message for this particular time. India is very much in my prayers, as are other countries. India is dear to my heart. I come to India every year on retreat. So I have a deep personal feeling for India. But beyond that, the thought of 1.3 billion people in lockdown awakens compassion, feeling, prayer for people. This COVID-19 situation brings out a deep sense of global solidarity. The virus does not keep apart different countries, different races, different religions. Make this time a time for deepening of love, for deepening of unity. Consider that you are not alone in this. You may be seeing only the Indian situation, but the entire world is with you. The entire world is united. COVID reminds us what a small world we are. And this world and life itself is a gift, and by cultivating deeper unity in the world, we cultivate divine love. We help advance creation to its ultimate goal and purpose of realizing and manifesting that divine unity. When you realize that you're not alone, here's this rabbi in Israel sending you this message of love and encouragement. Here are people all over the world praying for India. Here's India praying for Spain and for Italy. The same forces that lead us to be infected from the virus can also lead us to be infected with the love of God, support, and solidarity with one another. If we can do that, then this COVID situation has been an opening for us to come to a higher point in our spiritual evolution, a point of deeper owning of what is essential, shedding off what is non-essential, discovering the force of love, radiating unity and solidarity, and advancing as a common humanity in our march towards God. So tell me, dear friends, if we would succeed in coming out of this present crisis, more thoughtful, less attached, less defining ourselves by our acquisitions, and more by how we manifest divine life, more full of divine love with others, more united with the world, looking to God's purpose, and remembering that we are all one, united in one great divine breath, would it not have been all worth it? May God give you the courage and the strength to realize your highest spiritual aspirations at this time. Om Shalom.
Thank you, Dr. Alon, for your time and insightful guidance. Moving forward, we are blessed to have with us a persona with global stature. Serving humanity with faith and compassion, Imam Razawi is a renowned scholar and religious leader. His Holiness Imam Sayyid Ali Abbas Razawi is the Director General and Chief Imam of the Scottish Ahlul Bayt Society. He is the Joint Secretary for Majlis Ulama-e-Shia, which regularly sends delegations to the Islamic Republic of Iran. He joined the IRI Standards Commission as one of the Islamic scholars. He sits on the European Council of Religious Leaders and the UN Multi-Faith Advisory Council. He is supporting 14 national and international charities in Britain, one of them being the Scottish National Blood Transfusion Service. He promotes inter-religious dialogue and was the founding member of Sunni-Shia Alliance in Scotland. He is a member of multi-international organizations and non-governmental bodies, including the European Council of Religious Leaders and the United Nations Global Steering Committee for the Prevention of Genocide. He also serves as a member in Global Sustainability Network and the Advisory Board of the Islamic Reporting Initiative. We are privileged to have him here and are eager to hear his thoughts.
May I begin by greeting you all, my brothers and sisters from the Gayatri Pariwar. I sit here today in self-isolation in the United Kingdom, but I've come to hear about some of the wonderful work which you are doing. I know how difficult it is for essential workers, for those individuals on the front line, and for those people who are vulnerable. And from my heart, prayers, blessings come to you, to your families, for the wonderful work that you're doing to help and maintain the lives of those people who most need it. I know that 5,000 centers across India of the Gayatri Pariwar are working very hard to provide those things which are very important and necessary in this current climate. When I hear about this unprecedented virus, the one thing that comes into my mind is, in fact, Corona or COVID-19 is not unprecedented. We've had pandemics, we've had viruses over the centuries before. What's unprecedented is the global nature of this virus. And this tells me that when something is global, it requires all of humanity to come together to cure this global virus. And what we see is this, that when I reflect on faith, there are two things which are important: our duty to the divine and our duty to humanity. And both of these two things are interlinked. If the purpose of faith is to take us to union with God, the most powerful thing that we can do is service to creation, seva. And that's exactly what I feel that you are doing. You are enacting the word of God, the image of God. And what you're doing is you're doing the work of God. So if we are, and this is a wonderful opportunity, if we are to see a new, one would say enlightened, one would say a new era of peace, it requires for work like yourself, that work which you're doing. It requires people to go out to share, to show compassion, to show love, and to show kindness. And today I can truly say that you, my brothers and sisters from the Gayatri Pariwar, are doing just that. You're showing love, you're showing compassion, you're showing the divine, all of those formulas which are needed to be God-like, and you are doing the work of God. So all I can say from my self-isolation in the United Kingdom at this moment in time is please carry on this godly work so that it gives humanity a better chance to rectify whatever is required to rectify, but so that we can hopefully after this see a new era of peace, love, tranquility, and perhaps we can move on to a higher level of consciousness. From me and my community, I send to you this message of love, of blessings, of compassion and kindness. God bless you, and God be with you.
We are extremely grateful to His Holiness Imam Sayyid Ali Abbas Razawi Ji for his blessings and thoughts. Looking at the current times, these blessings will definitely give immense strength to us and will motivate us to work for the benefit of the community. When we speak of unity and solidarity, we can glean that these virtues have to be forged between diverse segments of the community. We have learned from influential people from the spiritual and religious domain, and we now transition to our next speaker, who originates from the scientific domain. Serving academia and the research community for decades, he will surely provide us with valuable perspectives on a scientist's approach towards unity and solidarity. May I now invite the Honorable Professor Marcis Auzinsh, who is former rector at the University of Latvia. He's the director of the Institute of Atomic Physics and Spectroscopy. He's a professor, head of the chair of experimental physics at the Department of Physics at the University of Riga in Latvia. He has chaired the Senate of the University of Latvia and was the former rector of the university. He's been a visiting professor in the United Kingdom, Germany, Israel, and the USA, and is a member of the Executive Committee of the European Physical Society. He's a board member of European Physics Education Network and has served as the board member of International Physics Olympiads. He possesses membership in the Latvian American Physical Societies and Institute of Physics in the United Kingdom, and he has published around 100 papers in various peer-reviewed journals. He has more than 130 conference appearances under his belt. And so with that, we would like to humbly request Dr. Auzinsh to provide his thoughts on today's theme of unity and solidarity.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, I would like to respond to the invitation of my personal friend and great friend of the University of Latvia, Pro-Vice Chancellor of Sanskriti University in Haridwar, Dr. Chinmay Pandya, and to address all of you in this moment of COVID-19 pandemic. Probably everybody have heard positions that this is very difficult situation in our lives, in lives of our country. It's crisis, and we should survive this crisis. And after this crisis, only then the real life again will resume. Of course, partially it's true, but I don't think that it's full truth. Equally well, we have heard, in some sense, opposite opinion, that it's a moment of opportunity, that it's opportunity to rethink our lives, maybe to come with new ideas, to spend more time with our families, to pursue our hobbies, for which we didn't have enough time during the previous period in our lives. Probably in the future, again, life will not be a smooth and straight line. Again, there will be ups and downs, there will be crises. And I think that in each moment in our lives actually is a unique moment. And we must be able to find time for important things in our lives, which we personally consider important, of course, to balance it with professional duties and duties in society, and only if we every moment, including moments like pandemic of virus COVID-19, will be considering as a unique moment, which is not different from all unique moments in the past, which is not different from all unique moments in the future. Only with this attitude, only with this way how to go through our lives, we will have fulfilled lives. We will have lives which will be interesting for ourselves, and we will have lives which will be fulfilling and beneficial for our friends, colleagues, and finally for society in general.
Thank you so much, Dr. Auzinsh, for your unique perspective on the theme at hand today. We are so thankful that you were able to join us today, and we appreciate the constant guidance and collaboration that you offer to DSVV. We have just heard from one of the many academics on our panel today, and in continuation, our next guest speaker resembles a harmonious blend of an academic and a lawyer. He has worked with a plethora of government bodies and international organizations in the field of law. May I now take the great honor and pleasure to invite the Honorable Professor Louis Franceschi for his valuable deliberation on the concept of unity. He is a Senior Director for Governance and Peace at the Commonwealth of Nations. He's the founding Dean of Strathmore University Law School, which is today regarded as one of the most reputable and innovative law schools in Africa. He's currently engaged in the Courts of the Future initiative, where he brought together all the academia, practitioners, governments, and judicial officers to transform the way the justice system operates in Africa. Currently, he's a visiting fellow at Griffith Law School in Brisbane and has been appointed as a visiting fellow of Mansfield. He's a legal advisor to several national and international government agencies, commissions, and programs, including international and regional courts, the United Nations, and the World Bank. He sits on several boards, such as the Transparency International Board of Kenya, the International Justice Commission, the African Prisons Project in London, the Africa Legal Network Academy in Mauritius, to name a few. He's part of the Governing Council Delegate and a legal advisor to the President of the Governing Council of the United Nations Environment Program, where he co-drafted the UN Nairobi Declaration. And he's also the recipient of the 2016 Australian Award for Utumishi Bora National Award in the field of research and writing. And so without further ado, please join me in welcoming Professor Louis Franceschi.
Dr. Chinmay Pandya, I would like to send this message to you and to the whole of DSVV fraternity, staff and students, friends, all world Gayatri Pariwar fraternity. These are times for reflection. We are asking ourselves why, like little children, we become children again. Why work? Why office? Why success? Why money? Why holidays? Why trips? Well, we are all now confined to our homes, and really what matters is family, relations, nature, and God. Saint Josemaria, Saint I admire a lot, told us, begin and begin again. Every time is a new beginning. And of course, we have to fulfill our duty, our everyday duty with great love. And I have a friend who speaks a lot about ordinary work and extraordinary grace. Well, these are the times for ordinary work. We are working from home. We continue doing things virtually. I wish I was there in the Himalayas with you to give you this message personally, but we have to do it virtually, but with extraordinary grace, because God continues giving us all the help, the necessary help. And this coronavirus that has pushed us to the wall, to the test? Well, it's a moment perhaps nature gives us to reflect and to cleanse itself, to reflect on why we were doing what we were doing and the reason for our priorities in life. And I'm very happy to have experienced what I experienced there at your campus, because it was an oasis of peace, serenity, and the true meaning of humanity that we should all cherish and somehow guard, because we are the guardians of nature, not the owners of it.
Thank you so much, Professor. We're extremely grateful to you for your remarkable words and insights. While he's been a close acquaintance of DSVV for some time now, he continues to provide us with perspectives that are most novel and unique. Moving along, we now will be hearing from a professor whose research is dedicated to social justice and reform, with the hopes of transforming classrooms and communities. As a scholar and an activist, her work deliberately focuses on dismantling narratives of underachievement and inequality. Therefore, it's extremely fitting that we have the opportunity to learn from her today, when in fact we are discussing unity. She is the Director of Research and Policy for Equity at the University of California in the USA. She initiated the hashtag School is My Hustle, which was a youth movement to transform education. She designed an award-winning training program that pairs community-based poet, mentor, educators, and teachers together to develop grassroots pedagogies that reclaim and reimagine schooling. She serves as a board of director in the United Playas in San Francisco, for which she's a board president. She's the director of the National Urban Education and Teacher Unison Policy Project. She serves as the director of NCTE's National Assembly for Expanded Perspectives on Learning and Fathers and Families of San Joaquin in Stockton, California. She's a recipient of the UC Davis Early Career Award and the American Educational Research Association's Social Impact Award. She's honored with Sacramento's 40 Under 40 Leadership Award, and she's presented with Chancellor's Soaring to New Heights Individual Achievement Award for Diversity, and is also awarded with AERA's Social Justice Leadership Award. And so without further ado, we would now invite her to present her novel and urban perspectives on the concept of unity and solidarity.
My name is Dr. Vajra Watson. I am the Director of Research and Policy for Equity at UC Davis, and I had the immense privilege and honor of spending time at DSVV. I've heard this moment of COVID-19 described obviously as a crisis of our humanity, but I would also lean and pivot towards the light of it being a place of possibility, a place of rebirth and transformation. And I think if we center ourselves to this moment as a portal, right? As redefining who we want to be and how we.
Thank you so much, Dr. Watson, for enriching us with your contemporary viewpoints and highlighting the importance of identifying commonalities that unite us rather than the differences that divide us. Dear participants, our final speaker for this panel is the Honorable Dr. Lu Feng, who joins us with a rich background in the fields of yoga, culture, and education. She serves as a significant bridge between the rich heritages of China and India, and her presence today is quite relevant for us as we are gathered in celebration of the International Day of Yoga. Dr. Feng is the Deputy Dean of Yoga College. She's the Vice Dean of the School of South Asian Languages and Cultures at Yunnan Minzu University. She has initiated joint collaborations between the Yunnan Minsu University and the Indian Council for Cultural Relations in 2015, and she has commenced various degree, diploma, and graduate courses for their student exchange programs. And so with those words, we now invite Dr. Liu Feng to provide her vision and thoughts on the concept of unity. Thank you so much, Dr. Feng, for your valuable insights and time that you have spared with us today. And so, dear friends, viewers, and panelists, we hope that you all had a great time in listening to the breadth and depth of wisdom that has been shared during this session. We have learned from great dignitaries from across the globe who hail from various domains such as education, science, government, sports, theology, and social service. There's so much to learn from their passion and lived experiences, and Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya and the all-world Gayatri Pariwar is incredibly honored to host this celebration amidst their presence. It is our intent that with these sessions, we can spread the message of global solidarity regardless of the turbulent circumstances that we find ourselves in today. And so this concludes the first day of DSVV's Global E-Conclave, and in the coming days, we will continue to be joined by tremendous speakers from different fields. Please stay tuned and join us tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. IST for our next session. Thank you so much once again for joining. Take care and pranam.